Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and it's time for a follow-up to a topic that I'd actually mentioned quite a couple weeks ago in one video, and I think recently, like last week in another video, a Magic the Gathering Netflix series is coming out. Now, obviously, that we knew, or at least it was rumored. You know, you never know when anything gets canceled. There was supposed to be a movie, too. And I definitely didn't make a Magic the Gathering movie trailer parody on my Meme Edits playlist, if that's what you were thinking. I would never do that. Link in the description. Okay, seriously, it took me about 9 hours to edit that 51-second video. If you do not go watch it right this second, you are dead to me. So what do we know about this series? Well, one, it's going to be animated. You know, people say, oh, that's cheaper than, camera gear and shooting locations and crews and all that. No, not necessarily these days. Animation is actually still quite expensive and, time intensive. It depends on the intended quality though, because I just saw some kind of like old English RPG style, like Americanized anime that came out on, I think, Netflix. And oh my gosh, like the effective frame rate of the animation is just terrible. And it probably costs them 1/3 as much because of that. I have a feeling that this might receive that treatment, but then again, I mean, Magic is in like 70 countries and it has around 10 million active players like right now. I think anyone who's even like played Magic in the past will probably go to the way to watch this. So yeah, I could see them throwing a fair amount of money at this to make it look really decent. But also in this case, let me just say, if it's live action but you need a bunch of special effects like constant magic and abilities and spells and all that, that crap's pretty expensive. Or if you don't spend money on it and you cheap out, it looks really bad. Now remember, when it's live action, you can shoot a film for like nothing if the whole thing takes place in like a phone booth or a elevator or like a hotel room or something. I mean, I've seen movies like that and their budgets are astonishingly low, but it works. Like, that's the hook, that's the gimmick, that's the point. This isn't one of those, okay? They're gonna have to travel to different planes. They're looking at like 3D rendered backdrops, really, really good green screening, CGI constantly. I mean, I think it was, in this case, cheaper to go animated. So I do agree with that, but which one, budget concerns not a factor. Which one would I prefer to see? Live action, obviously. That'd be way cooler. Like, done absolutely correctly and accurately and well done, that would be so much cooler. So right now it's a little surprising that we don't have an episode count, because usually they know that pretty early on, and that's the type of stuff that they fill in just in the template on IMDb for an in-progress work. We also don't know the release date. That's pretty typical. Honestly, with Netflix, that's even more of like a last second thing, because they can just throw it up whenever they want. It doesn't really matter. But in keeping with, project details that are almost always public, we do know most of the names involved. And this is where it looks pretty promising. You never know, though. You never know. I mean, look at the alleged big names that wrote the 8th season of Game of Thrones, and look how that turned out. Some people are absolutely talentless hacks who can kind of BS their way through it for a couple years and put their names on some things and convince everybody that they're good when they have no idea what they're doing. That said, I've never seen a Game of Thrones episode in my entire life, but still. So the executive producers, there's actually 2 of them, are also the writers. And that actually usually goes pretty well. It can go way off the rails if nobody's like checking them on stuff, because then it's just them, but also there's 2 of them. So it's Henry Gilroy and Jose Molina. So Henry Gilroy did Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars The Clone Wars, which if they're talking about the animated series, I can imagine it would be anything else. Excellently done. One of the best animated series ever made. And Jose Molina is from The Tick. They didn't specify which of the 3. And Agent Carter, which I've not personally heard of that. Now, assuming that he was the writer for the more recent Tick, that was excellent. I mean, you can do dumb humor right or wrong or somewhere in the middle. When you got like Spaceballs and like Strange Brew, Airplane, there's something about Mary, I guess. I mean, that's pretty, like, that's kind of intelligent dumb humor. And then you've got like literally anything with Will Ferrell. Anything. Absolutely literally anything with him in it. How does he keep getting work? That is dumb humor done wrong, because he's not funny. He's a terrible actor. He's a terrible, I guess, writer if he's responsible for any of that. He's just crap. And The Tick was dumb humor done right. It's got clever layers to it. Some of the physical comedy was just spot on, like Mr. Bean style, but a little bit more serious. Just a lot of like, we're gonna fly past it, like airplane tongue in cheek, like half in the background kind of stuff going on, where you obviously catch it and you're like, oh, I get it, but they don't like focus on it, like patting themselves on the back, like, oh, how humorous we are. I mean, that series was just so fine line perfect. So if Jose Molina had like a lot to do with that, oh my gosh, this is gonna be amazing. But then again, that was a comedy, and the actual like writing and drama of it were, average to above average. Like if you were to just remove the comedy and pretend it's all drama, it's not bad. It's not like top-notch amazing, but that's because it can lean on the comedy and it doesn't have to be serious, nor should it be. But Lord help us all if this is a comedy, an MTG like Netflix series that's all like unserious dumb slapstick comedy. I mean, even if it did work, it would still be a disgrace to Magic. Even if it was like really good on its own, nothing in Magic is funny. Well, except for Ral, the king of the one-liners, aka Comedy Relief Little Kid. I think that's what I called him throughout the entire series when I was covering the lore. But still, it's fairly serious. All the stories are like drama, what's going to happen next, suspense. It would be unusual if they didn't stick to that. But I would say the Clone Wars was fairly serious with, some jokes, some funny stuff, because it was kind of a little bit targeted towards kids and adults combined. And if they kept it to like that level, I would say that's appropriate. So I think they're both capable of making a good product. And their vision for it also had to be approved by Wizards at some point, if not multiple points. So I'm pretty confident about this. Definitely gonna like binge watch it and then make a no spoilers review on it like the day after it comes out. So hey, subscribe button if you don't want to miss that. So who else we got? We got Yoriaki Mochizuki, I think it could be. He was the story artist for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I've heard that's good. Haven't personally seen it yet. And also, I don't know what a specifically story artist is. And I mean, I guess not animator. They would have said that. Do they mean storyboard artist or concept artist? I don't know. But in this particular project, apparently he's going to be the supervising director and I guess another co-executive producer. So there's 3 of them. Okay. And then I guess Isaac Krause is the CEO of the animation studio Octopi, which is the one overseeing production of the show. And by the way, the directors of the movie are Anthony and Joe Russo, who just got done directing Avengers Endgame. So theoretically, with these people behind it, it should be good, but don't make the typical Hollywood mistake of thinking that, this project, this product, this media thing was really, really good, so everybody involved with it must be unbelievably talented and good at their job and amazing. No. So once again, this lineup looks pretty good, but you never know. And, outside restrictions, budgetary concerns, different coworkers, anything can go off the rails real quick. And there's a lot of absolutely talentless Hollywood phonies who just lean on their coworkers and have a good reputation for no reason. Not saying anybody specifically in this list. I don't know any of them or any of their work, for the record. It's just, I've seen with other projects where people are like, oh, look at all the names behind this, and then they're just utterly terrible when they come out, and it turns out those people weren't responsible for their past projects they worked on being good. If anything, they were just in the way. So don't get your hopes up too much. This could be a disaster. It could just be mediocre, but it will probably be extremely good. I think that's a good way to describe it. And unfortunately, unlike Hulu, Netflix does not appear to have a refer a friend affiliate bonus, so don't sign up for Netflix, I guess. Hey, I'm just saying I ain't promoting it unless I'm getting a piece of the cake, you know what I mean? Just kidding. You should probably get Netflix and go watch this. Although wait a week after it comes out to see if it's total crap, if that's literally the only reason you want to sign up for Netflix. So we know next to nothing about really anything, character, storylines, anything, but we've got a couple little blurbs from, I guess, a press release. It's going to have a, quote, all new storyline and expand on the stories of the Planeswalkers. I mean, it's probably the core 4. They didn't specifically mention the Gatewatch, but we'll see. They seem to be implying that it won't be like one of the most famous popular older storylines. So like old Dominaria, Urza, Brothers War, nothing cool like that. That'd be pretty easy too, because it's already written. You just open the book and make a screenplay out of it, basically. Although technically this would be somewhere between a mini-series and a full series, I would expect, not a movie. Apparently the Russo brothers are big fans of Magic the Gathering. So they said they're very excited about it, but I mean, you say you're excited about every project you're working on. That's like a Hollywood cliche. And the actual animation will be done by Bardell Entertainment, but the aforementioned Octopi will be doing production, whatever that means. So Isaac Krause, the CEO of Octopi, in a statement kind of accidentally confirmed that this won't be like another Davriel situation necessarily, where it's just an island out of nowhere based on nothing, the characters out of nowhere, super separate, unrelated. He said something like they're going to be leveraging the existing body of work, but then somebody else said it's still going to be like a brand new story, not a past story. So, I mean, you could say, okay, Davriel's, book was based on Innistrad and that was existing lore. But based on what everybody's saying, I'm not getting a vibe that it'll be like a super absolute island. I think like Jace, Chandra, maybe Gideon, depends chronologically, and like, Liliana and some others will actually be in this. Let's see, Isaac also said it will cross the genres of suspenseful thriller, horror, and drama. Okay. It's also supposed to be really, really character driven with like deep, like everything's about characters and character history and obviously the planeswalkers and, emotional development, that kind of stuff, instead of like, oh, things are happening, or oh, it's a mystery, or oh, it's all thriller suspense, or oh, it's action and violence. Like the whole point will be the characters. And that could go very good or very not, depending upon how accurate they are, unless the characters they choose to focus on have never before been seen in the lore. So they could have like Chandra training other pyromancers, and that's like the whole entire series. And yeah, Chandra's in it, but she's, arguably a main character, and then they have like other sub-characters, and that's who they choose to develop heavily. I think that could work. So that appears to be all of the details that we know for now, and I have a feeling it's going to be a while before we see this. Probably a year plus would be my guess. I will say, though, based on who's involved, how it all came together, how they're announcing it, how long we've known that it was likely a project, and just generally how Netflix operates, the chances of this getting stalled out or canceled is virtually zero, unlike the movie. So that at least is really good news. So I'm excited and scared to see what it comes out like, and I will definitely watch it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.